Some of you that watch me on the Archcast, you know that I often get into disagreements with a fellow content creator by the name of Short Fat Otaku or Dev. And I do get messages from people asking me if Dev is disingenuous, and I generally don't believe that he is. I do think that, unlike other left-leaning people, and I think like he's going to complain about this label, but he genuinely believes the stuff that he is saying, and he is interested in the pursuit of knowledge. I consider that myself. I'm also interested in the pursuit of knowledge. And since both of us are part of the political commentary sphere on YouTube, it's interesting to point out how we have arrived at such different conclusions. And I think that my statement that most Canadians and even a lot of Americans, they look at countries like Russia or Eastern Europe and understand that it is systemically corrupt. But when they look at their own countries, they do not think that America is systemically corrupt. They do not think that Canada is systemically corrupt. And part of the reason is that they never had this in their history. I mean, when you look at European history, we have thousands of years of things that happen. So you're pretty much going to always find an example of something. But when you look at America and Canada, I mean, these are newer countries, and they don't have the experience and the knowledge. So basically, it all sums down to this point. My Eastern European cynicism cannot be debunked. I believe that I well past the Reddit phase, the atheist phase. It's like, show me the evidence, show me the smoking gun, let's look at the science. No, like, right, like, I notice patterns. Like, I have been doing this for 6 years. Like, for 6 years, I sit at this little table and I read the news and I see how governments around the world behave. I know a little bit about history, and I know how they behaved in the past. So I see patterns. And whenever I deal with the government, I deal it with cynicism. Like when you tell me that Prigozhin has been in a plane which crashed, my assumption isn't going to be, let's see what the officials are saying. Well, the officials are saying that there was a grenade inside the plane and that Prigozhin may have consumed drugs. And unless I see the evidence, unless I see the actual phone call where Putin ordered the assassination, I will believe the official sources. You know, like, I apply the exact same standard to the US government, and I apply the exact same standard to the Canadian government. When it comes about government, it's probatio ad diabolica. You have to prove that they do not have misintent. I'm an Eastern European. Like, we have this saying here, the government wants your well-being, so make sure it doesn't take it away from you. Like, this idea, it's like, oh, let's look at the evidence. No, I see a pattern. The pattern is very simple. When social media censors a story, or when social media censors something which is legal to say outside, so if I go on the streets and I say it, it's legal, but if I say it on social media, I get banned, chances are that story is probably true. I mean, look at the evidence. You got the Kyle Rittenhouse shit, right? Like, that was illegal to say on Facebook that he was doing self-defense. On Twitch as well, like, there have been people banned. Oh, turns out, oh my god, he went to court. Oh, it was self-defense, right? The lab leak story, banned on YouTube. You couldn't say it. All of a sudden, oh, it turns out that it's true. I mean, we can go, Hunter Biden laptop story, banned on social media. Like, whenever I see something banned on social media, Dev asks me, it's like, well, V, how could I convince you that America isn't corrupt? Well, when you make a video and you say that America isn't corrupt and you get banned for it, then I'll believe you. I'll be like, you know what? Yeah, no, like, if the social media cracks down on you. And it's also, this whole thing, it's like, well, when I point out that the government is asking social media to crack down, because we see the Twitter files, right? It's just that, well, yeah, but like, sometimes Twitter said no and nothing bad happened to it. I mean, I guess like Don Corleone isn't part of a racketeering business because some shops said no and he didn't do anything about it. So therefore, I don't know. It's a level of gullibility. I guess this is the difference between wisdom and intelligence, right? Like, in order to have intelligence, you gotta study, you got. But sometimes, like, wisdom is also important. Like, you notice the patterns. Dev will say, well, yeah, but, like, pattern recognition isn't the end of knowledge, it's the start of it. I mean, I guess, but let's put it this way. If I assume that the government is malevolent, and in almost every single case it wants my well-being, so I need to be sure that it doesn't take it away from me. So therefore, I support, the candidates that want to shrink and limit the government rather than expand it. How is it detrimental to my life, really? Like, why is this a bad mindset to have? Maybe it's incorrect, like maybe great government, grandiose government is the solution. But if I want to restrict it, right, and this is my mentality, I'm a bigot. Like, when it comes to government power, right, with other things, I'm not so bigoted, but with the government, I'm incredibly bigoted, like maximum bigoted. The bigger the government, the worse it is for me. I mean, look at the European Union. Every single legislation that they pass makes my life worse. I can't imagine, like, the last legislation that they passed, and I was like, oh, wow, this is not. No, they're, like, literally legislating what else do we ban, what else do we censor, what else do we restrict. Right, so like, for me to assume that they want my best intentions, people that don't know me, people that don't give a shit about me. If I was stuck in the ditch, they wouldn't care. If I was burning, they wouldn't take a piss on me. Why exactly would I assume that these people have good intentions and they're for the people? And if you notice that the European Union is like this, and you notice that Russia is like this, why would I assume the US is different? Like, when I see the political opponent getting lawsuit after lawsuit literally before the elections, some of the court dates being placed in a way to inconvenience the upcoming elections. Like why would I? My favorite point that I had a conversation with him yesterday was about the indictments, and most importantly, his name being taken away from, deciding that he can't have his name on the primaries in Maine. And it's like, well, yes, but you see, according to the Constitution, the burden of proof. The burden of proof for insurrection isn't like in a criminal case. Like, he doesn't have to be found guilty by a jury of his peers. Burden of proof is lower. So I'm like, okay, if the burden of proof to get a president to be stripped out of, an ex-president, to be stripped out of the primaries is so low, why should my burden of proof that the government is corrupt need to be higher? I mean, right? I don't understand. So I think, like, this is the major difference, and this is why I'm not going to be convinced. It's like, there is no point in showing me the trials and, like, everything else. Like, we're not going to understand each other because we disagree where the north is. Like, we're trying to interpret the map, and you think that north is south, I think that north is west. Like, we're not going to fall into an agreement, right? My main issue, government evil, period. There's no, like, I have lived enough. I have seen enough. I know history. There is no explanation. Well, actually, yes, no, some governments are bad because they're in Eastern Europe. Other governments are good. And it's like, no, absolutely not. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.